So yesterday we did this part. Today we're going to do this. There we go. So today, this is what we're going to look like. Much simpler. Yesterday, this took us about 2 hours and 15 minutes. Today, I'm going to say it's going to be quite a bit less. So, hour and a half maybe. So, it's currently 8 o'clock, 8:05. We should be done by 9:30. All right. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to trim these up. 2 of these are just on one sheet of paper. We don't even have to subunit those guys out. So that's good. I need to change my thread over still too. So trim these subunits out. I don't trim them down right to the cut line. In the ballpark. Get rid of a little bit of excess. How's everybody's morning going so far? If you have any questions about what I'm going to do, or what I'm doing, please feel free to ask. Welcome in, friends. Welcome, welcome. All right. There's all that. Let's get started. Get my light turned on. All right, we're going to start this with just 2 pieces. We got CW and CP, CW and QP. Let's see. Try to grab my square corner down here. There's my stitch line right there. Trim this excess off over here. I'm gonna keep my eyeball on that line right there. Give myself a seam allowance. And then pull that out. And trim that off. We are going to be working on Legit Kit Vortex month 11. We did this half yesterday, and we're doing this half today. And yeah, we're going to do this piece here. There's my seam line right there, so I gave myself a seam allowance. And then I'm going to cut it with some wiggle room. All right, so now we'll flip the pattern over. I'm going to put my CW down here. And QP is going up there. I'm just going to hold on to that. Flip it over, make sure I've got a seam, kind of a little too much seam line. There we go. And now I'm going to stitch right on that line. Drop my stitch length down just a little bit so that paper will tear away a little bit easier when we're done. All right, next piece we're going to be QV and ER. Now, being a batik, there's no right side, wrong side. Being dark fabric, it's hard to see through to see that line. I'm going to trim that, and I'm going to be along the edge there. Alright, there we are. About like that. Alright. There's my stitch line there. There's the other stitch line there. We're going to put this And this. And there's that seam line right there. Make sure we're covered. And this piece is going to go here. So I'll flip that up. And we'll stitch it. All right. So that is 4 lines. The line that I'm going to be sewing, it goes like this. That line there. Yeah, this is an LED light box. Got it off Amazon, and there's a translucent cutting mat on top of it, because this is not cut resistant. It also helps with things like that. It's like, I really kind of want to be on the other side. All right. That's right about on the line. You want to go over a little bit. Something like that. We'll pull that piece of paper out. There we go. And then the other piece on here, this piece, I realized as I was doing stuff yesterday that this PU color, I didn't have very much of. So I did go ahead and shuffle and piece. So there's going to be an extra seam here in the middle of this one. And that's okay, because I needed it to be able to cover that. And it was not even a fat quarter that I had total. And I cut into it a couple times yesterday. But this is the only place that I need that color. So I was like, okay, I just need to make sure I have a piece big enough for that. All right. I need to make cuts on both sides of this. Okay, this side first. Oh, my stitch line's way up here. Did I have this figured out? Maybe I had this figured. I guess yeah, I could do that and just make one cut. Oh, I need to make sure that it's this way, because we do have a right side, wrong side to this at this point. So I'm just going to make this cut here. Sorry, I'm just babbling to myself, make sure I get this right, since we're already piecing this piece. There's my stitch line. There we go. So now we've got this UV here. And this one's going to go here. All right, let me stitch this. All right. MY and AA. Most boutiques, right side, wrong side. This one has, it's inked on one side. That's going to be the back side of our fabric. We're using this side of it. And then we need AA. And I try to keep myself very organized when I'm doing these. I've got bags in my drop-down file here that have all the different colors in them. That way I can remember which one goes where. Hopefully I can remember which one goes where. That goes there. We got P and AA. Stitch line there, and alright, so that's gonna go there. That's going there. CW and VA. Some fabrics are easier to see through than others. This one falls into that category. Not all batiks are made the same. So that's going to go across there. Like that. On this side, it's going to be more like that. Go. VA, Valentine. Eating breakfast at church later. All right. I honestly rolled out of bed. I set my alarm. Did not get up when my alarm went off. I turned it off. So I'll just lay here for another couple minutes and an hour later. So that's why I was like, yeah, still walking up the stairs at 8 o'clock. All right, so we're going to put that CW here. Focus on this seam line right now. Make sure that one's covered too, so make sure I didn't cut something wrong. And this one goes here. Fold it over, and now, thank you for the, and last one, CW and VA again. And stitch line, it's right there. Little seam line, seam allowance, and we'll pull this guy out. I know there's another piece over here, but just for ease, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut, and we'll trim that part off in the next step. Okay, we'll flip this back over. We always build it on the back side of the paper. There's our stitch line right there. And this one is going to go there. I'll flip this over. You can pin this if you want. I'm feeling adventurous today, and I'm just going to kind of hold it on both sides, flip it, check my seam allowance, and then over to the machine. We've got all of these put together. Now you can use something like this to turn it over, and it works if your fabric is super well starched. I did not starch my fabrics, but you also run the risk of stretching your fabrics when you do that. Let me see if my iron is warmed up. Here we are. So our first piece here is that one where we've got that extra little bit down here. So I've got postcard, junk mail, something a little stiff. Just going to put that right there on that next seam line. I'm going to fold my paper over, and then the add a quarter has that little bit of a lip to it. That lip is going to lock right in there. Hey, Tom. I'm going to cut that off. And then we'll cut this next piece here, watermelon piece. And that's going to go right on there. Flip that over and stitch that down. Alrighty. Now we're going to put this berry, this ER, on over here. Cardstock up to the line. Fold over. It's got a longer one here. And trim that off. There's my seam line. Give myself a little wiggle room. And I'm going to pull that out. Try to keep that stable. It's like pulling the tablecloth out from underneath the fine china. Except we're pulling the table out from underneath the tablecloth. Anyone got anything fun going on today? Flip that over. And then take this over to the machine and stop. Hi there. Good morning. Okay, so this one is all, we got everything on it. So we're just going to trim this down. All right, so that piece is all ready. Set that aside. All right, so now we're going to put this piece on. There's a crossover between these two seams, so I'm just going to tear that paper back just a little bit. And cardstock up to the seam line. Fold it over. And trim it off. I am not. That is not on the top of my favorite chore list. Even if we try to cut conservatively. All right, that's going to go on there. And let's stitch this. All right, So piece 3 is up here, KQ. I'm going to go ahead and roughly cut that off. Don't think I have any more of that color. That's the one that I had to piece. I think that's the only, as far as I know, that's the only piece left of that. AQ. Let's see, this one is ready for trimming. Alright, so that one's all. And this one here, we got one more piece to put on here, and then we'll go back to the ironing board. So we're going to fold on that line there. And trim that down. Emerald Ann is, if you don't follow her, that is Barbara, and she does some really cool jewelry making. And she's just a nice kid. Compared to me, she's a kid, but she's an adult most of the time. Barbara, you are nice. You are a very nice young lady. And Selena, you could. You can do it. You can do it. Back to the ironing board. I will be right back. I'll be back. There we go. Welcome in, friends. So this one is done. It just needs trimmed. Done. Oh no! I did not cover that area. Now I could see what I did is like this piece should have been, this is skinny here and fat here, and it should have been fat here and skinny here. So I could tear it all out and restitch it, or I can, let me show you a trick. There are so many seams in this that you will never ever notice that there is an extra seam. So I just cut that excess off here. I'm going to put it here. I'm going to stitch. You will never notice the fabric is being stitched to the paper. So I'm going to stitch this and fold it over and pretend like there was supposed to be an extra seam there. So I just stitched that to there. And I'm going to fold it over. And in the long run, you will never notice that extra seam. Now we'll tear that away from the paper. And we'll go on with our business as if there was no business, there was no monkey business around. Not something I'm going to fret about. The only part of it that's going to show is just that itty bitty little corner. And we move on. QV is the next piece. And I'm going to whack off a corner for there. Sometimes I just feel like eyeballing it. There we go, almost perfect. So put that there and fold it over. And this one needs this little corner up here. Tear that paper back. Cardstock on the next stitching line and fold it over. Trim off the excess and cut my next little piece, little triangle. Yep, it's sewn to the paper. Yep. Flip that over. Next piece. Put on this piece down here, this piece of berry down here. And we're going to fold on that stitch line. Trim off the excess. This is obviously enough to keep, so that was QV. I'll stick that back in that bag. We'll be trimming that too, so it's all right. We got extra, and that's okay. I'm okay with that waste. This one is all ready to be trimmed down. These two are actually going to go together, but we'll get to that in the next step. So many pieces, yes. So I'm going to go press these. I will be right back. And this one has this piece here. Okay, cute. Big enough? Oh, it is. Awesome. There's a random scrap in there that was big enough. Hello, friends. Stitch one. I've got this little piece over here. My husband's phone's going off. That means he's getting called into work again. He's having a bad weekend call-wise. And this one, we got all the pieces on, so let's trim this down. Now, that piece that we had to add in is that little bit right there. And then once we take out that 1/4 inch, you're only just going to have that little bit. Could have potentially matched my pattern a little better, but that's okay. You're not going to notice that once we're all done. The colors are so pretty and vibrant. Yes, they are. Is it hard to do? No. This is foundation paper piecing. This is a very beginner-friendly pattern. If you've done any sewing or anything, this isn't bad. The biggest part is getting your brain wrapped around the fact that you're putting the design on the back side of the paper, stitching it, and now we're going to flip that last little piece over, trim it down. So everything is going to be the opposite of how it looks on your paper. Let me just press these last two. up, and then we'll start putting the subunits together. Piecing, either use batiks or use solids so that there's no, oh crap, I put it on backwards. How do you get the paper piecing to follow? This is a pattern that I bought from, or that I got from a company called Legit Kits. They do some really cool stuff. There are plenty of places online where you can get free patterns. The one that comes to mind first is called fandominstitches.com. And they have a ton of free designs on there. Really cool stuff. I've gotten a bunch of stuff off there, and it has led me to designers where I have purchased some of their stuff too. If you are going to print them yourself, I highly recommend getting newsprint to print them on. The paper is thinner and less tightly woven would be how I would describe the fabric version of it, but it's obviously paper. But it tears apart much easier when you go to remove it. All right, so we have 2 of these blocks that we need to put together. E7 has 3 pieces to it. So we're going to hook this to this, and then this unit to this unit. I think it's all the precise cutting that gets tedious. Yeah. Yes, exactly. You go to, yeah. When people, there are some foundation paper piecing designers where there is significant repetition to the design. So they will have templates that you cut from. This does not have templates because no 2 pieces are the same. None of them are the same. I do a lot of freehand cutting when I'm doing foundation paper piecing. I'll kind of like, okay, well, I need a piece. Okay, I see a triangle like that, and I'll take my piece of paper and I'll take my piece of fabric and just use my scissors to just like, okay, yep, that's about right. It doesn't have to be exact. When you cut it, when you're cutting that fabric, it doesn't have to be exact. You're going to cut something that's going to cover that area. But if it doesn't cover that area, then I just showed you a trick on how to make it work. All right, so we're going to put these 2 together. Now this is the same color here, and you're going to want to get that to line up. So what we're going to do, I'm going to beat my sewing machine up with my pin cushion. All right, so I'm going to take a pin, and right where that seam line intersects, those 2 seam lines intersect, I'm going to stick my pin through. And the same thing on the other side. Where that seam line, those seam lines intersect, I'm going to stick my pin through. Ooh, popped up right at the exact same spot. Then I'm going to squish these together and get those edges to line up. Now, theoretically, I should be able to pop this through right here in this corner where they meet up. And that should pop right through to the other side. Not exactly. So I'm going to adjust. Pull that out. Put it right in there. All right. And then the same thing over here in the corner. That intersection there, where those 2 points come together, right there, where those come together and that seam line comes up. Should all fall pretty dang close. So now I've got 3 pins going through like that. Now I'm going to take, now I use a very thin gauge pin. It's very, very flexible, almost too flexible sometimes. These are Clover, and they're 1 7/8 inches. So they're pretty long. I'm going to take that and I'm going to go straight through. If I don't catch the paper on the back side, that's fine. Because when you catch the paper, then it ends up warping a little bit. But I got both fabrics. And I'm just going to go straight through. What I don't want to happen is I don't want a big, and then have it all warped like that. I want it to be nice and flat. All right, now we're held together. Now I'm going to go stitch right on that seam line. Slow down, pause, pull that pin out before you get to it. You'll make yourself happier. I'm not the quilt police. I'm not going to arrest you if you stitch over your pins, but I'm just giving you fair warning. Because I was always, I'm just going to stitch through. I always did that, but I have learned, especially when I found out that that piece in this machine was $50. You missed pin and broke the needle. Almost cried. Yeah, thought you broke the machine. Yep. Yep. Now look at that. We took the time to line them up, and look at how perfect. Look at how perfect that point right there is. And then I'm just going to press this open. All right. Just gonna trim off that little dog ear there. All right, now we're going to put these guys together. And that intersection there, it's going to line up with that intersection there. Put that right through there. And right, that's not it. And right there. All right, so we got those intersections lined up. And we'll put those pins in horizontally. Over here. I'm going to put a couple extra in. Because with the paper, things tend to try to, they try to dance away a little bit sometimes. Yes, right. All right, now I'm going to stitch this. Alrighty. And then we'll take the paper out of the seam line. If you have fingernails, it's very beneficial. I'm missing a fingernail. And the other thing, if you are using a heavier paper that doesn't want to tear away easy, the trick I have, take your seam ripper, take the back side of your seam ripper, and you're just going to run it right along your stitch line. And that's going to score that paper just a little bit. And it'll pull away just that much easier. Or you can use that seam ripper to get into that point and release that paper. Sharon, you've been in here the whole time. Thank you for hanging out. All right, now I'm going to go press this open. Look at how that blue point came together. Look at that. Is that perfect? All right. I'm going to put these guys together. And then we'll have all of our blocks together. Right there. Right there. There. And then we're going to stitch that. All right, hang out for a little while longer, and I will show you exactly what the full quilt looks like. Now I'm making this with batiks. I have it made with the Dakota cottons also. And that when it's all done. Hanging up on my wall right over there. All right, let me go press this one. Alrighty, there we go. So, we're gonna hook all these guys together. Love these colors, love these colors. So I'm gonna start out with putting these two together. And again, just like when we were putting the subunits together, we're going to match up any intersections. We're going to match up the corners. Now, because these are nice and square now, should be easy peasy to match everything up. And once everything just fell together the way I got to, I'll stick those other pins in. Welcome in, friends. I'm looking here. Right. Paper out of the seam lines. There we go. 9:23. I said we got 9:30. We're just slightly over that. I've been jibber-jabbering too much here. Okay, I estimated we'd be done about 9:30. We're not far off from that. All right. So let me go press these guys open. And then these guys go together. All right, like that. And I'm rolling these guys up. Welcome in, friends. All right, let me stitch this. Press this. There we go. Now we're going to put these two halves together. All right, I'm going to touch that center. And I'm going to put the point over here. Throw a couple more in along here. And here. So worth taking that extra little time to match these points up. It makes a difference. And that color change just goes instead of there we go. And I'll stitch that. All right. Hi, Sky. There we go. Take these papers out. She got the chicken down there. Huh? We have a visitor. Hi. Hello. Yes, hello. What? You like to sit under my feet when I'm working, don't you? Yeah. All right, we've been on here for an hour and a half, and we are just about done. This is it for part 2, and I'm going to hook this. I got one more seam. We're going to hook today's project with yesterday's. I'm going to take this corner piece out here. Once I get things folded over, it'll just kind of get a little tough to get into those corners sometimes. All right, let me press these. All right, so there's what we did today. And here is what we did yesterday. And now we're going to hook these guys together. And this will be month 11. So one seam left. Match those points up. Well, thank you for the follow, Corky Pearl. That's a cool name. So this legit kit block of the month is almost done. There is another one that is currently underway that is Iris, which is the eyeball, and that's really cool. And then there is another one that is coming up that you guys will be able to start signing up for soon if you're interested. And it's a pattern that we've done before as a full block, as a full kit. And it is right there. It is Deep Dive. The sea turtle. This has a lot of very complex stuff that's right through here. First month does get into a little bit of the tip of there. But then we're going to have, you know, a month where we're very, very basic again. And then we're going to get into a little bit more here. And then we'll have 4 months worth of woof, easy. And then we'll do bing, 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 and bing. So this is really cool. When that sign up happens, you're going to use a discount code in there. And it's going to get you 15% off your first month. And that discount code is Boozy Dive, all capital letters. So the pattern is called Deep Dive. So Boozy Dive. All right, let me sew this last seam and we will be done for today. Velma Candy House. Okay, that's a neat name. All righty, we'll get these papers out of the seam line. And we'll have today's final reveal. And there we go. Here, we'll do it that way so we can get it all in one. Do you know about what time later? I don't. I'm going to take a break and I got to get a little bit of housework done. And we'll go from there. All right, so if you guys want to see what the whole thing, okay, it's kind of laying over stuff, so it's not straight, but that is what the full vortex looks like. And the part we worked on today was this area right in through here. But that, there we go. Don't mind my messy studio. So this is basically that area right through there. All right. All right, so I'm going to kick out of here for now. Check back later. I'll probably be online later working on reaching. See if I've got a good picture of reaching for you. Where's my picture? Where's my picture? Well, anyways, here, I'll just do this. She's hanging off the edge there, but that's what I got done with her so far. Yes, she does have a head. She's just leaning over the chair. But I'll be working on that later. Bye, guys. Thanks for hanging out the entire time, Sharon. You win the prize. See you later, guys.